Alright guys, I'm back with another chapter in Genesis. We're going to be reading out of Genesis chapter 19, where it reads, Sodom and Gomorrah destroyed. And we'll jump right into it. That evening, the two angels came to the entrance of the city of Sodom. Lot was sitting there, and when he saw them, he stood up to meet them. Then he welcomed them and bowed with his face to the ground. "My lords," he said, "come to my house to wash your feet." To wash your feet and be my guests for the night. You may then get up early in the morning and be on your way again. "Oh no," they replied. "We'll just spend the night out here in the city square." But Lot insisted. So at last they went home with him. Lot prepared a feast for them, complete with fresh bread made without yeast, and they ate. But before they retired for the night, all the men of Sodom, young and old, came from all over the city and surrounded the house. They shouted to Lot, "Where are the men who came to spend the night with you? Bring them out, so we can have sex with them." So Lot stepped outside to talk to them, shutting the door behind him. "Please, my brothers," he begged, "don't do such a wicked thing. Look, I have 2 virgin daughters. Let me bring them out to you, and you can do with them as you wish. But please, leave these men alone, for they are my guests and are under my protection." "Stand back," they shouted. "This fellow came to town as an outsider, and now he's acting like our judge. We'll treat you far worse than those other men." And they lunged toward Lot to break down the door. But the 2 angels reached out, pulled Lot into the house, and bolted the door. Then they blinded all the men, young and old, who were at the door of the house. So they gave up trying to get inside. Meanwhile, the angels questioned Lot. "Do you have any other relatives here in the city?" they asked. "Get them out of this place. Your sons-in-law, sons, daughters, or anyone else. For we are about to destroy this city completely. The outcry against this place is so great, it has reached the Lord, and he has sent us to destroy it." So Lot rushed out to tell his daughters' fiancés, "Quick, get out of the city. The Lord is about to destroy it." But the young men thought he was only joking. At dawn the next morning, the angels became insistent. "Hurry," they said to Lot. "Take your wife and your daughters and your 2 daughters who are here. Get out right now, or you will be swept away in the destruction of the city." When Lot still hesitated, the angel seized his hand and the hands of his wife and 2 daughters and rushed them to safety outside the city, for the Lord was merciful. When they were safely out of the city, one of the angels ordered, "Run for your lives, and don't look back or stop anywhere in the valley. Escape to the mountains, or you will be swept away." "Oh no, my lord," Lot begged. "You have been so gracious to me and saved my life, and you have shown such great kindness. But I cannot go to the mountains. Disaster would catch up to me there, and I would soon die. See, there is a small village nearby. Please let me go there instead. Don't you see how small it is? Then my life will be saved." "All right," the angel said. "I will grant your request. I will not destroy the little village, but hurry, escape to it, for I can do nothing until you arrive there." This explains why that village was known as Zoar, which means little place. Lot reached the village just as the sun was rising over the horizon. Then the Lord rained down fire and burning sulfur from the sky on Sodom and Gomorrah. He utterly destroyed them, along with the other cities and villages of the plain, wiping out all the people and every bit of vegetation. But Lot's wife looked back as she was following behind him, and she turned into a pillar of salt. Abraham got up early that morning and hurried out to the place where he had stood in the Lord's presence. He looked out across the plain toward Sodom and Gomorrah and watched as columns of smoke rose from the cities like smoke from a furnace. But God had listened to Abraham's request and kept Lot safe, removing him from the disaster that engulfed the cities on the plain. Lot and his daughters. Afterward, Lot left Zoar because he was afraid of the people there, and he went to live in a cave in the mountains with his 2 daughters. One day the older daughter said to her sister, "There are no men left anywhere in this entire area, so we can't get married like everyone else, and our father will soon be too old to have children. Come, let's get him drunk with wine, and then we will have sex with him, that we will preserve our family line through our father." So that night they got him drunk with wine, and the older daughter went in and had intercourse with her father. He was unaware of her lying down or getting up again. The next morning the older daughter said to her younger sister, "I had sex with our father last night. Let's get him drunk with wine again tonight, and you go in and have sex with him. That way we will preserve our family line through our father." So that night they got him drunk with wine again, and the younger daughter went in and had intercourse with him. As before, he was unaware of her lying down or getting up again. As a result, both of Lot's daughters became pregnant by their own father. When the older daughter gave birth to a son, she named him Moab. He became the ancestor of the nation now known as the Moabites. When the younger daughter gave birth to a son, she named him Ben-Ami. He became the ancestor of the nation now known as the Ammonites. Goodness, that was an awful chapter. I did not realize. One, I had remembered that how that chapter finishes with Lot's daughters really taking advantage of him, but I guess in a loving manner, I guess, if that's how you want to do it, as far as thinking of the family, although I think drastically misplaced and taking things into their own hands and not allowing God, although it's all God's will. So I don't know. That part confuses me a lot. Not quite sure. But one thing that I did not remember, and I'm interested to see what a different translation would say. I cannot believe the boldness of the people of Sodom that were just so belligerent in speaking to the angels that were there for Lot. Say, "Hey, get those two men out there so we can have intercourse with them." And like being willing to break down doors for it. That's such a level of bull. I know people say that, well, I guess I shouldn't say I know. I've heard people make comments and other pastors on YouTube and things like that. And I go down rabbit holes just to learn more about the Bible and do some studying and just seeing where other just schools of thought are on the faith that I have and the different denominations. And some people say this is the most sinful the world has been since Noah and the flood. And I've heard people make that claim before and things like that. When I think of the boldness it would take for any amount of people to go knocking on doors and telling the people got to come out here and face a mob that wants to take advantage of them sexually, that is blows my mind. And so I couldn't imagine living in a society like that. And the fact that Lot wants to escape to a smaller town, Zoar, but it's so interesting because it wasn't a place that he felt safe. He was scared of those people too. And so it's interesting that these are still issues even after the flood. And so it blows my mind that people would continue to have so many issues and be filled with such hate and contempt and selfishness, and I just don't understand it. And not that I don't understand I understand selfishness. It's easy to be selfish. But to the level of disrespect towards others, that they would be willing to violate someone's just own self. Like, I just couldn't imagine that body. Nope, that's mine. We're getting out here. We're doing this with everybody. Like, the boldness in that, I can't even imagine. And so I guess I'm just kind of taken aback by that chapter. That was a rough one, guys. That was a rough one. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm kind of taken aback and not and just, I did not realize how terrible. Obviously, you always hear the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, but I don't remember that aspect of it. And I don't know if it's because I just remember that story in my youth, and I don't remember the last time I read that in my adult life. But I couldn't imagine an entire population or an entire society that sees guests, and the fact that Lot was willing to sacrifice his own daughters. I mean, understanding that those were representation, those were divine representatives. That's still, that whole chapter blew my mind. But on that note, have a good night. God bless. I love you. Jesus loves you. And I'll be back tomorrow to read chapter 20 of Genesis, where it reads, Abraham deceives Abimelech. I think I pronounced that right, Abimelech. But have a good night, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.